Thank you, Tanya, for getting this started, and welcome everybody. Today, as you prepared yourself for an experiential session, this is going to be something that you are going to get involved in. And let's start getting involved with the chat box. Just say hello and stuff like that. But as we move forward, we're going to be talking about something which is about your outer and inner nature. It's about connecting with this nature that you see around me, whatever we can make believe out of it in our concrete jungles. And this is actually inspired by Vatika. You know, we just have a nice Vatika around. But there are two aspects: what's around us and what's inside us. And the power of peak productivity and working at your full potential arises when you manage to combine these two. That's what we're going to be doing today in this hour. We'll probably spend about 45 minutes together. We'll have a Q&A, and it's generally free-flowing, but I wouldn't be seeing the question in the chat all the time. So Tanya or Meenal, who are our hosts from Vatika Business and Meetings and Offices, would take care of the questions, and we'll address all the questions together around the end. Unless there's something really pressing, in which case, Tanya, Meenal, if you could just stop me. And that's about all. It's not complicated, simple stuff. Now, there are a few things that I've got here. We've talked about outer and inner nature. We are going to see how we connect them and what is the power in that. And then we are going to actually apply this for reducing stress. That's what we're going to do together. So if there is an element of stress in your life, you will go away with some hacks today that come very naturally. It's not like having green tea or binging on Netflix and getting rid of stress like that. It's about connecting energies. So I know I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but let me not do that. Let me start one step at a time. Outer nature, right? So I'm going to give you 5 things that you can make a note if you like, because you know these are going to stay with you all your life. So you might as well recap your notes sometimes to see what aspects of these outer nature you're not having that connection with at any time. If at any time you feel that I'm low, I am out of sorts, what's going on, why aren't things going my way? Happened to me too. And that's what I learned to get over. So let me play back a little on what I did and why I am sharing all this with you, why it makes sense for you to spend the next 45 minutes with me. I've been into the consulting space for a good 20 years. I used to run a consulting company in Hyderabad. And this was, I started around 1997. We ran it for about 11, 12 years. Somewhere around 2004, 2005, I was very ambitious. I was very stressed. I was an entrepreneur. I had all those issues of cash flows, and I had those relationships and those networks and, balancing life and all that. But that was fun. That was the game. What was disturbing to me was that many of my clients, who were like large business process outsourcing firms and large consumer companies, what they were doing, it was kind of troubling me at the core, at my root. And what they were doing, for instance, the BPOs were having these young adults working against the biorhythm on problems that, to my mind, ought not to have existed in the first place. Somebody's credit card, somebody's insurance claim out there in the US. And it seemed to me that they're very smart kids doing clerical jobs. In fact, clerical would be glorifying it. They were working like robots, like zombies. And I said, this can't be the future of human consciousness. This can't be the purpose with which such smart, intelligent people are going to be living their lives. So that started me on a search for purpose and consciousness. Being in Hyderabad, I was close to a lot of the Vedic gurus, and I was just plain fortunate to have learned from the likes of Satyasai and Sri Sri and Chariji and various Vedic gurus. Around 2010, it took me to a point where I handed my company over to the other directors and sought to learn about the secrets of our energy, which I was told the Tibetan lamas are really good at. So I spent a few months in the monasteries of the Himalayas, not like a wandering yogi, but in the monasteries, learning about how our energy moves. And so often we use this word energy loosely, just as I used it about 5 minutes ago, saying, that we have this energetic disconnect with things and feeling low and all. But now I really understood how energies operate, how vibrations operate. And having an IIM background, I have that logical, analytical mind, which made me question a lot of things. And I found that there are limits of science because there's things that can be measured, which is where the limits come. And there are things that can't be measured yet, which is beyond the realm of stuff that you can measure, but you can surely experience. So working with energy is working with everything around us, because E is equal to mc square, energy is matter, and everything is interchangeable, convertible. Energy is also a vibration, and every atom out there between you and me, between my laptop and yours, every atom in the universe is vibrating. So that vibrational energy is just a difference in various factors which make something look like a laptop and something else look like a dog, and something look like you and something else look like your spouse. But we're all made of those atoms. We're all in those vibrations. And working with those is what got me really excited. I worked the next 6 years in villages all over the country because I wanted to get away from the disturbing corporate world, enabling micro-entrepreneurship and energy, solar energy empowerment of women and stuff. And I also started doing workshops and coaching programs around using your personal energy for health, happiness, and harmony. That was so satisfying. And that enabled me, because when you're connected with this energy, which is all over, your world just changes. I, in the last 5 years, have traveled across more than 30 countries, doing workshops across 4 continents. And in the last year, thanks to the lockdowns, I have compacted all that learning and distillation over 15 years and experiences into programs that people can do online. Now, before I start with this, I'll just spend another minute on the significance of those programs, because in 2019, March, I lost a very, very dear friend. We go back to 1993. You can imagine, more than 25 years. He was in Hyderabad. I had moved to Gurgaon after I left my company, and we hadn't been in touch for long. But I'm here doing all these inner power programs all over, and this guy was battling stress without knowing it. And he had a brain stroke, and his wife and I were talking outside the ICU. He spent 10 days there. And she said, and I'll say this verbatim, "वो तेरे को क्या बताता, वो मेरे से ही नहीं बात करता था इसके बारे में." What would he talk to you about? He wasn't telling me about his stresses. And I realized that there are too many people in this world who would be in denial or would not be able to recognize early signs of stress. And from there evolved a stress matrix. From there, thanks to the lockdowns, I was able to packet all this into the inner power programs, which are about dealing with stress. So that's why this experiential workshop comes from a crusade that I am on to get rid of stress on this planet. So thank you very much for being here. You are in perfect alignment with my purpose. And that said, let's get on with it. Outer nature. Outer nature is quite obvious, actually. It's about around us. Like people who live in villages. I've had 6 years across 23 states, remote corners. I find that they may not have much money, but they have much greater happiness. Happiness is a function of energy. Health, happiness, and harmony, those 3 H's. Their happiness comes from their connection, their connectedness with nature, which we lose And we have lost in the design of our modern business lifestyle and surroundings. The air conditionings and all that make us very comfortable. But if you Google up Dalai Lama paradox, you will see a number of paradoxes that the Dalai Lama has listed about how we are so technologically developed, but so distant from each other, so close but so far, and so on and so forth. So like that, we have those comforts, but we don't have the connections. Not after today. After today, you'll have those connections. What's the other thing? What we eat. It's very important to understand that our connection with the outer nature, the naturalness of what we eat is what becomes the naturalness of what we process. The more you are into unprocessed stuff, like foods that don't come out of packets, the closer you are to doing yourself great service, being healthier. So talked about happiness, talking about health. And one can go on and on about this, but that's not the idea. Just flag yourself off to these things where you need that connection. What are you using? Are you using clothes made of chemical synthetics, or are you using cotton? Stuff like that. Are you using a lot of gadgets around you? They're increasing your distractions. The cell phone is such a distraction, for example, and it does not allow our mind to focus. We are not able to be mindful about what we do. And so while we think we're doing a lot of things, we also have a lot of things that are undone. If a Zen monk was to look at that, he would just do one thing at a time, and he would achieve a lot more in the same 24-hour day. That's another story. But that's how we have ancient Oriental wisdom. That's what it does to us. It puts us in connection with this outer nature. And what we sense, everything that is coming to us by way of sounds, by way of sights, by way of smells, and even by way of opinions which come to us mentally. They could either build us or contaminate us. It's very possible that we are getting contaminated, and that contamination is what I call stress. And we don't realize how much we're contaminated until we do something that we're going to do right now in the next half an hour. And I would urge you to keep doing that, because this is an experiential session where you will be doing stuff to remove contaminations, to release your stresses. So, and the fifth is how we breathe. So breathing is, again, like eating, our connection with the outer world. Now, in these days where people are suffering with oxygen deficiency, we have started getting more mindful of the criticality of what we took for granted. We always thought oxygen is always available. We can cut down as many trees as we like, but still oxygen will be available. We got a thing coming. And Mother Nature has given us that thing. It doesn't come in cylinders. It comes to us naturally. But how do we interplay with it? What do we do with it? That is something that is all about what you are to be connected with. Now, how do you connect within? What's inside us? So inside us is our body. We live in it. It's like the apartment. And taking good care of the apartment is just nice because you get a good feeling being there. You're not in a stinky old place. You're not in a place where the windows are falling apart and the walls are dilapidated and the roof is leaky. No. So keeping the body good is about what you give to the body, like the air and the everything, all five of them. And then you have the mind. And the mind is the one that's getting contaminated with opinions and stuff like that. But this, remember guys, is the ego mind. This is the mind that also has its own manifestation, its own opinion, its own belief systems. Then you say, what is the other mind? Well, the other mind is a little subtler. It's feelings. Now, feelings come from within. You could say they come from a subconscious mind. So you may have often come across that little drawing of the iceberg, where they say that you've got the tip of the iceberg is the conscious mind, and then down there is a huge unconscious mind, subconscious mind. And then further down, at the base, which is the largest of this huge iceberg, at that base is the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind tells you stuff intuitively. So those are the three minds we have. Now, I'm sure some of you have come across these, and there is so much depth that we can go into with just this iceberg. But that's not the motivation for the talk today. Just want you to bear in mind that this is like a pyramid. Okay, I said iceberg, but you can imagine it as a pyramid because those are the relative sizes. And those are the relative areas also. This is where the top of the pyramid is what you would call the mind, the conscious mind. Here, at the heart level, is the subconscious. This is where feelings emanate from. And down here, at the gut, is our base of energy, is the intuitive mind. You know, you have a gut feeling. That's a feeling you get energetic. And trusting your instincts is exactly what this is about. So your instincts are part of your mind. And science is discovering the gut-brain connection. There is a lot of write-up about the gut-brain connection. They have just figured the combination of neurons over there. But in Kundalini Yoga, that's exactly what we connect up. You know, and there are various Qigong practices that do the same thing, which from China. I'm a Qigong master. I do workshops on business Qigong, and how you can pack in a 25-minute routine and have an internal bath. Just as in the ads, you get those animations of germs which are contaminating your armpits and your teeth, and so you brush your teeth and clean your arms. What similar germs without those animations are contaminating your energy body, and you must learn how to keep that clean. That's another subject, but it's something that I'd love to do workshops for you guys. And finally, we have the energy, the spirit, the pure energy form, which we connect the inside and outside through the medium of breath. So this is called Qi. I mentioned business Qigong. So the word Qi in that is life force energy. In Japanese, it's called Ki, which is like Reiki, universal life force energy. And in Sanskrit, it's called Prana. So like pranayam, pranic healing, right? So using that energy, that's where this connection comes from. And this is what the Chinese Mandarin symbol for Qi looks like, which it's an interesting side note. You know, this has got two parts, the hood and the vertical line, and then this cross inside. So, you know, the cross there with 4 dots, that is the word for rice. And the hood and the vertical bar is the word for air. So basically they knew 4,000 years back when they were meditating on their inside that air and rice, what you eat, which is the simplest to process glucose, is rice. And what you breathe, the right quantity, the right quality, and so on and so forth, other parameters of breathing, is what brings your life force to you on a day-to-day basis. Now, that being the background, let's look at a common experience. You guys, some of you may have even hugged a tree, but you have definitely gone for a holiday in the hills. I can safely assume that, right? Everybody does that from the time they grow up. Sometime or the other, if not in the hills, you've gone to the park, right? Whenever you're in the woods, whenever you're in nature, you feel pepped up. In fact, going in the hills, sometimes we go for long walks, 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers. Ask you to walk even half that much, around your neighborhood in your metro city, would you be able to? The trees are giving us the energy back as we walk through them. And this little diagram shows you the guy who's got, guy or girl or whatever, who's got a little aura around. And the tree also has a similar aura. Everything's got this energy field around it. And it's the interplay of these auras. That's what connects. So when you meet somebody new and you instantly have a liking to them, happens? Why does it happen? Because even before you've learned that both of you are from IIM or both of you are from the military or something like that, you've just connected at an energetic level, and then you discover those similarities. And believe you me, each one of us has so many similarities. It's just our conscious mind that keeps drawing the blocks, drawing the self-sabotage, the lines between us. But if we drop the lines and we just move energetically and we explore, it may surprise you, but you can be friends with anybody. That's connecting. So when you're connecting inner and outer nature, you're connecting through energy. That's the conduit. And that's the conduit between people, between your team members, between your clients, between your vendors, associates, consultants, investors, everybody. Human, non-human. Dogs know this very well. Dogs know that their master's coming. They're wagging their tail. You can't even hear the car. The dog's already at the door, right? They've got good energy elasticity. So now that you understand that aspect of energy, you will still be skeptical. And I can buy that. And so let's start, before we hit the subject of stress, let's start understanding how we use this energy. And this is where we get into motion, guys. I want you to believe for a moment that what I said is true, that there are atoms around us and they are vibrating, okay, all over. And so if you are somewhere on a mountain face in the Himalayas, which is snow-clad, and you move your hands around like that on the mountain face, what's likely to happen? You're likely to collect snow. No brainer. The snow is there, you're moving your hands, it'll come. You make a snowball. This is a mountain face of energy. In the next 2 minutes, each one of us who's willing to participate, cameras on or off, doesn't matter, on will be good fun and very inspiring for everybody else. Follow me in making an energy ball. Why are we doing this? Because everything I say about using energy to combat stress is going to be meaningless unless you have felt energy. It's like this. You buy a house. You switch on the switch and the light doesn't come on. You question the builder. Have you given me an electricity connection? You question the fuse box after he says yes. You question the meter box. You question the substation until the light comes on. But once your sensory impulse has connected, if the switch went tick and the light went boom, it's on. Will you even drill a hole in the wall to see whether there was a wire behind the switch? You wouldn't. No further questions. Because your experience has been satiated. The idea, the reason why we're going to do this is because your experience in connecting your inner and outer nature through energy is going to be satiated. Maybe, and this is a disclaimer, maybe as you do it with me, you may not feel what I'm going to be saying you will feel because of your mental conditioning. You know, the conscious mind is very logical. But do this, and also because of your environment. You're probably in an air-conditioned environment, or you're probably in a room. Do it in a balcony. Do it in your garden. Do it next to a plant just after we finish. Go out at 5 o'clock and do it. And you will see the difference. So here are the motions, right? Step away from your laptop a little, or your phone, or wherever you are, and bring your hands together like that. Okay, palms facing. And slowly, you see the pace, slowly get into touching them, and then you'll have a sound like a clap. And slowly keep this motion, but stop clapping. Keep bringing them, and bring your awareness in between your palms and in between your fingers. See, the fingers are spread out, relaxed, and sense any sensations, any tingling, any stretchiness, any resistance, any warmth, any sensation, any elasticity, anything that you can feel happening between your palms. If you started late, just do that again, bring it together, have a couple of claps, and then continue the motion till you start sensing. Just take your mind into awareness of what's happening between your fingers and palms. And check. For me, because I am an energy practitioner, even in this room with all the laptops and electricity around, I have this ball that I'm not able to press. It's just increasing on its own. And I feel it like anything would become spherical, right? I can feel all sides of it at this point. And some of you will too. Some of you will just feel some tingliness or something, but do this. Do this in the outdoors. Do it tonight. Do it 3-4 times, and you will be. It's an experience many people have for the first time in their lives, and it's ooh, what was that? And it will always stay with you. You will be able to create it on demand anywhere. This is an energy ball that I've got here. And you know what? If you have a pain, or if you have a sense of being low or something, just put this ball into that area. I have no pain, nothing. So I'm going to put it in my gut, in my energy center. But if I had a migraine, let's say, I would have gently taken the ball and, or if I had a knee ache, I would probably put it around. Stuff like that. Once you have felt this, maybe not the whole ball, but just some sensations, and you're welcome to write in the chat box. If any of you had sensations, please share, because it's exciting. Was it exciting or not? If it was, do share. Now that the switch is on, you have an idea that energy can be experienced, whether or not it was. Thanks, Jyoti. Great, Tanya, Minal, awesome. So please look at the chat box and add to it. Thanks, Prem. I won't be able to acknowledge everybody. And the important thing is knowing that this is available. This force field around you is the one that interacts, interplays, and connects. Now let's come to the subject of stress. Stress is a misalignment. Yes, that's what I said, misalignment. You know, when our body, mind, and spirit are not aligned, we are stressed. When we say something, do something else, and feel something else altogether, we are stressed. I call it the say-do-be harmony. What we say, what we do, and what we be. Being is coming from the core of us. It's again the conscious, subconscious, unconscious minds being in alignment. When that alignment is missing, stress comes. In organizations, we have to have an alignment between the purpose of the company, the vision, mission, values, and all that stuff we talk about. And that's why HR gives an orientation to the new recruit on day one, that this is what the company's vision is, and this is what your JD is. And these are your KRAs, and this is your reporting structure. Because if that alignment is off, there will be stress in the organization. The guy will be on a different purpose and the organization will be on a different purpose. There'll be infighting. If you just want to align your organization and reduce the stress, you've got to be looking at solutions energetically. You can be. I'm not saying you got to be, but you can be. And that's where we can have a conversation. But organizational stress is just the same as an individual's physical or mental or emotional stress. It's this lack of alignment. You know, even our organs are organized. We have an organization within us. And if this organ called the nose takes in too much air and the lungs are not ready to process it, the extra air will be coughed out. Right? A cough is the sound of that stress. Get it? So everything is in alignment, you're working fine. Everything's not, anything's not, you know. And did you know that 75 to 90% of the reasons why we visit doctors is directly or indirectly related to stress? Put it another way, this is not me saying it, this is research by Dr. Bruce Lipton, a very noted American biologist who's done groundbreaking work on epigenetics. You can Google him. If you understand this phrase differently, about 80% of the time that you feel the need to visit a doctor, you would not, if you just knew how to align yourself. How much a doctor bills would that save, and where would that bring the pharma and medical industry? Huh? That's my crusade. Those are the guys I'm fighting. I'm not actually fighting them, but I'm putting together the whole concept of self-regulating our health, because it is just so worth it. So I want you to do another exercise. And this time, yeah, very nice. This time, I want more participation in the chat box. I want you to, at the time when I say go, I want you to breathe in deeply and hold your breath. And keep holding it. If you just recovered from COVID, don't do this. If you are having asthmatic problems or other cough-related problems, just watch the other people, and the other people, please put in the chat box. When you can't hold it anymore, when you can't hold your breath anymore and you need to breathe again, I want you to, before you breathe again, record in your mind how you're feeling and note that in the chat box. I mean, if you really hold out, you could be dizzy, but just sense how you're feeling when you have breathed in all, breathed out all, and you cannot breathe in again. Okay, you may last 10, 20, 50 seconds, doesn't matter. It's not a race, it's not a competition. I just want to see some comments coming in the chat box, right? So at the word go, breathe in and keep holding till you need to breathe again. When you need to breathe again, please breathe again and write how you felt. 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah, I'm gonna have to speak because I am expecting chat comments to start now. And hey, you guys are tigers. I say you can't be breathing or not breathing for so long. I've got to have some comments out there. This is, I think we are almost touching 20 seconds now, guys. Don't kill yourself. A little dizzy, bit of migraine. Okay. Cool, thank you. Done meaning Santosh, you're done and over. It's not about finishing, it's about how you're feeling now. It's not about how long you held out, but how did you feel before? Did you feel like you're going to die or something? Like one of the participants said that they're a little dizzy there. Light, very nice. Heavy. See, complete contrast, light and heavy. Relaxed, cool. I love that. So you are the best candidate for a good round of underwater swimming. Just get relaxed. Very heavy. Right. What is this telling us? Thank you so much. Thank you very much for participating. Uneasy. Yep. Thank you very much. This is telling us that the consequences of dissonance between the organization parts, the lungs, their expectations, and the nose, its delivery, can actually make you sick. That is the misalignment. Now, this is only in one aspect of body and only experienced in less than 30 seconds. When this continues over time, that's where bodily issues, which could be small, it could be a headache right now, it could be dizziness, it could be lightness, heaviness, stuff like that, could become a migraine, could become what happened to Amit, a brain stroke. Because we weren't catching the early signs of stress. And like Amit, he was in denial of any of it. Hey, everything's okay. Yeah. I mean, the guy was cool. That guy was, the less I say, the better it is for me, because he was like a brother to me. And that's how it is. So reduction of stress is removal of these contaminants which we don't recognize, the early signs. And again, I'm going to get you on your feet and ask you to participate in this exercise, and then do this, if necessary, every 4 times a day. Every time before you sit for your meal, first do this, then eat. Simple. Why? Because what you're going to do is going to make you feel light. And I'll tell you later why. There may be other feelings that you get also. I'd love to have them in the chat box. But what you're going to do is you are going to shake off contaminations. And there are so many coming from physical things, coming from imperceptible physical things like the coronavirus, coming from imperceptible non-physical things like opinions, coming from things that work against our subconscious, because when we were kids, somebody played some ghastly music and we didn't like it, and now any tone of that music, even on that frequency, and we overreact. Shut that box down. Then we wonder, why did I have to be so loud about shut that box down? It was coming from somewhere deep inside. Those contaminations are getting humorous, they're chronic, but they can be cleansed. And cleansing them is step away from your laptops again and imagine yourself as a tree. So I want you to put your soles of the feet firmly in the ground, okay, flat. And imagine roots growing out to the center of the earth from there. Now, let me tell you, the center of the earth is 6,000 kilometers. So even if you're on the 6th floor or the 60th floor, that's not even a few hundred meters. 6,000 kilometers, you're going deep. You can even do this exercise in an aeroplane. If you feel that the place is making you nauseous, just go to the back of the plane. It's only 10 kilometers up in the air. Grow your roots down. Let your hands hang limp on the sides. And move your toes a little, just, shaking them so that you're aware that they're there. Move your ankles a little, just so that they're flexible. Move your knees a little, and then you can see my hips perhaps, yeah. And then move the shoulders, move the torso. And now imagine that this huge, beautiful tree that you are is facing a wind. And now because of that wind, all the leaves on this tree, the wind is blowing through them, right? So you need not be moving your hands all the way that I'm moving, but just keep them moving, keep your fingers moving, because the leaves on all these parts are like shaking. And within these leaves are a lot of nests. Within these leaves are a lot of dead leaves. Within these leaves are a lot of corpses of worms and God knows what. Stuff that you don't need. They cause you tensions. They cause you frustration. So just feel everything moving and just aim to feel the breeze and release any tension in any joint, in the shoulders, in the jaws, in the torso, in the hips. You know, there are a lot of joints in the neck. So in the neck, and give yourself a good shake. Okay, from the knees upwards, everything is moving. Feel the jiggle. And like I said, this is just about 10-20 seconds of this jiggling, but enjoy it. This is a huge breeze. It's shaking off everything and removing all the things that don't serve you. You can do this in the washroom in office. You can do it in washroom in a mall. You have an altercation with the shop owner, and you've got bad vibes from there. Vibes are vibrations. Vibrations are energy. Just shake them off. Give it a good shake, and then imagine that the wind is getting lesser in its intensity, becoming kind of breezy, and then slowly you are like a bamboo in the breeze, you know, just moving lightly, very lightly. And as you come to a stop, take your hand and run it along that force field like this, up and down the hand and the legs, down the end of the leg. You could go down and do it also. And then collect energy from the energy center and from the eyes. And just do this. Collect it from the head and from the neck and shoulders and up the spine and out of the mouth. How do you feel? Type. Somebody's light. I don't know if it's light from the last experience or light already. But you know, the common reply is light. There are many beautiful, refreshing, enjoy, love that, love that. Lightness feel. The reason is, in the last 30 seconds, you have seen the physical weight E is equal to mc square. Energy is matter. The physical weight of contaminations on your body. Remove them, cleanse your aura every 4 hours before every meal, and you are going to increase your immunity. You are going to increase your smile. You're going to feel and probably even look younger. And this is what Qigong is about. Qi, I told you, is life force energy, and Gung is to work with. So working with life force energy is this. And working with that is what I help people do on the stress matrix. The stress matrix is about where our early signs of stress are coming from. So important to understand what is possibly stressing you that you don't even identify as stress. For example, in the mental, these are the 6 dimensions of life. So you have more about this at sandeepnath.com. Just search for 6 dimensions, you'll find an article on the stuff. But that's not important. What's important is, yes, that I have sandeepnath.com. But what's important is that we all live our lives in these 6 dimensions. And I've modeled the stress matrix also on this so that we can understand that something in the mental dimension, for example, a person who does not work in a team, you say, uska to attitude hi aisa hai, or he's not a team player, or he is, he's like that. It's a symptom of stress. He needs or she needs somebody to talk to them and then maybe walk them through what could be remedial. And in the stress matrix, I've got this diagram where we have these 3 levels, you know, the BP, that's body and physical interactions, mental and financial, the 6 dimensions, and spiritual and social and emotional. And all of these, when we talk about alignment, we come to the state of absolute alignment. That AA state is what you want to arrive at. And how you arrive at that is by, dropping your details in, yeah, sorry, that was it. Okay, that's vatika.gr8.com. Why the Inner Power Blueprint is here is because the, sorry, what did I do? Going back. Yeah, vatika.gr8.com is a place where you just drop in your details and get access to reading all about the stress matrix and exploring the Inner Power Blueprint. This, like I was telling you, is the product that is specifically designed for stress. It's a 3-day video-driven program, 1 hour a day, including homework. And what you do at the end of the 3rd day or during the 3 days, and by the end of the 3rd day, is you have a roadmap for how to use your energy, how to recognize your vibes, and how to move forward. In the next 3 weeks, you would document your vibrations and you would learn how to be stress-free forever. Forever. Untouchable. Now, that's what happens with so many people who've done this program. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years with workshops, like I was telling you, across the world. And that's what I've compacted here. But then, like I told you, Inner Power, I made a lot of programs for relationships, for healing, for the mind-body connection, for how you can come into that say-do-be harmony, and various others, the Reiki programs and various things, because we were able to, right, last year. And because of Vatika Business, and especially meetings in offices, which is put together this program today for all of us, I've got 5 other products as a bundle, absolutely free, with the blueprint. So do check it out, because this blueprint could take you 3 days to change your life. It's like a marriage, you know, it takes you 3 days, but it changes your life. With the other products, over the next 2-3 weeks, you would go through all 5-6 of them. There's 6 in this bundle now. And this bundle is only available through MNO and only available till the time you see the slide, because unless you kind of remember this link. So it's better you just type this link in and keep it open, study it, and make use of what's available in Energy Wisdom for you, for your family, for the rest of your life. So that said, it's a wrap from my speaking, but I'll continue to speak if you have any questions.